we are back with another week of A-Town Rundown. Right now, we're going to jump into the Hawks like we did last week. The Hawks are currently playing against the Pistons right now, which right now they're only down by 4 points. They're in the tail end of the game, though. You're watching this game. It's got kind of a size mismatch, and that's kind of playing in the Pistons' favor. But when it comes to the Atlanta Hawks, personally, I don't know of anybody better to talk about it than my boy Jeremy right here. So, Jeremy, why don't you tell us about how the Hawks are doing?
Hawks are doing great right now. Still no Trae Young. He's not going to be reevaluated for his knee injury for another probably week and a half, I would say. And again, got to remind everybody, reevaluated does not mean that they're going to be back. That's not a timeline they're going to be back. But Trae Young, the fact that he's out and we're still playing like this, we're 9-5 now, is a good thing, I think. You were just talking about the Pistons game, 6:50 left in the fourth. We're down by 1. The big problem in this game is that our bigs are injured. Before the game, Kristaps Porzingis and Onyeka Okongwu were both questionable. Onyeka ended up playing. Kristaps did not. So sometimes when you just don't have the height that you need, like you can get taken advantage of in the NBA. But Onyeka's having a great night. He's one of those guys, like over the last week, like since we last talked, Hawks, went through their whole West Coast trip without losing a game. This is their first game at home. This one against the Pistons on Tuesday night. And came back from 21 down in the fourth quarter. One of those games we talked about last week was Vit Krejci going crazy with 8 threes. The very next night, Onyeka Okongwu, our backup center, who historically has not been known for threes, but I've been saying like over this past season and a half, it's like I feel like I trust him shooting threes now. He gets 7 threes the next night. Tonight he's showing up when he was questionable to even play. So I think what we're seeing right now is like the Hawks actually have real depth. My personal belief is that when Trae Young comes back, that we're going to be even better because, like we said last week, like we do need a floor general. We need someone who's going to be out there and coordinate the half court game. The defense probably will take a dip, I would imagine, just by having Trae Young on the floor. But your offense goes up, and hopefully that's going to balance out. But right now, I feel like the Hawks are. I think they're tied for number 3 in the East. I think there's like 3 or 4 teams all tied, like between 2 and 5. And then Detroit is ahead of everyone else. They're on a 10-game win streak right now. Hawks are on a 5-game win streak, so this is an interesting matchup.
Yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, so this was supposed to be a nationally televised game, NBA on NBC, which is finally back. Like you and I grew up with NBA on NBC. This year, it's finally back. This was supposed to be an NBA on NBC Showtime game. But when Trae Young went out, the league decided to take that away and say, nah, it's just going to be a local game. And they had the Spurs and someone else take over that game. But now Victor Wembanyama is out. So they're getting a shitty game on NBA on NBC while the 2 top teams in the East are playing each other on a local game
going on our hands.
Yep.
And that's the thing too. What I wanted to bring up though is like you see us, and this is what I mentioned last week. You see us go on tears without Trae Young. You see us play well without Trae Young, and then when Trae Young comes back, we sort of have to change the game plan a little bit to like reintroduce him into the scheme and get things going around him again. But it kind of begs the question, and I would never say that we don't need Trae Young. That's something that you'll never hear me say. But it is proving that we can play without him. And it does beg the question when it comes to the time of renegotiations, reevaluations, and contracts and everything, do you think there will be a conversation where it's like, okay, well, we do just fine winning without you. Like, if you're not going to agree to these terms, why do we need to keep you here? If you're asking for too much money, those types of conversations,
Yeah, okay. But if you get into that, you got to think about like there's plenty of other teams around the league that are going to give him that money. So you have to find a way to make him stay. And you've already got, it's like, hey, you've got a home here. You built your family here. The fan base. The fan base knows you. The fan base loves Trae Young.
Absolutely.
But if you start to nickel and dime him, you got to think that someone's going to be waiting with more money. And if that's what he's looking for, you got to be careful in these negotiations because I believe that for the Atlanta Hawks future, and I think Jalen Johnson is kind of emerging as, Atlanta's superstar player. But I don't think the rest of the league thinks about it that way just yet. but they do think about Trey Young that way. So if you lose him, it's like, are you taking a step back? What's your other option at like being an actual franchise point guard, which I think every franchise needs? It's not as important as the quarterback, but think about it kind of in that same role.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know. I'd like to keep Trey. One of the big rumors is like rival teams think that we're going to get rid of, or that we could get rid of Kristaps Porzingis and kind of get some salary dump.
Well, yeah, because
like
that was
off
something
the
else I
books.
wanted to bring up. Because when you see, especially with the game tonight, the only thing I can really see Porzingis being out there for is for a sure size matchup. Other than that, he's another player that, like, yeah, he's new to our team, and he's still got to learn how to play to this playbook and everything like that. He's still got to learn the culture in the city of Atlanta. But it's looking like they could potentially do just fine without him, especially if it's going to save us a boatload of money.
Yeah, but here's the other thing. It's like, what are you going out to get? And I think it's too early in the season to say like, okay, we could trade Kristaps and open up space to go get someone else, or like use him to get someone coming back in a trade. But it's like, what exactly are we looking for right now? Because we are one of the best teams in the East right now without our star player. I'm not really sure we need to make any kind of trade or get rid of any money, because I think this is Kristaps' last year on his contract. So it's not like you're carrying all this money into next year like Kirk Cousins. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But I don't see this roster like and the money being a problem right now. If you're winning games and it fits our pocketbook, let's keep running it.
I will tell you what we're looking for, and we're looking for a team with the name of the city Atlanta in it, besides the 95 and 2022 Braves, to have a fucking championship. That's what we're looking for.
That's exactly what I'm looking for. What about the 2018 Atlanta United?
Yeah, well,
I remember people saying like, we finally broke the curse.
Yeah,
this is before the 21 Braves World Series, and I was like, it's not the same.
I never mean to overlook the MLS. I never mean to overlook Atlanta United. But when you look back at it historically, like a lot of Atlanta sports teams, it was a flash in the pan. Like, we came out swinging, won the MLS championship the first year, and then what have we done since? Disappeared.
We're Atlanta United finished the season as the I forget what they call it. It's like the wooden spoon or something. It's like, but that's what you win when you're
not good.
You're the worst team in the league.
It's what it is. Yes, yeah,
we got
good,
that. Yeah.
So I mean, it just goes back to the thing, like, Atlanta's going to Atlanta, like you're going to have all this talent, and then you're just going to lose it. You're not going to re-sign the right people. You're going to, I mean, you're going to keep the wrong people around. I mean, it happened, and it happened in the MLS. It's not just football. It's not just baseball. It's not just basketball. It's apparently also soccer, so I think it's just an Atlanta thing.
No, it's not, man. And I think about this sometimes, like, and we're getting into it a little too early. It's like being in sports fandom hell, and how it seems like Atlanta fans are almost always in that. It's kind of like the default, but we're not the only people around the country that have that. There's only a couple teams, a couple franchises that are always winning. The Chiefs, the Patriots had their long run. The Spurs, the Heat.
Envious of other cities where, like, I wonder what it's like to, like, grow up and, like, be from Boston or be from LA or be just from a city that's so used to winning, where, like, you don't understand, like, whoa, your football team has never won a Super Bowl. Your baseball team only has 2 championships. Your NBA team has never won a championship. Like, what? That's so foreign to them. Fuck you guys.
Yeah. And they don't realize how lucky they are. Like, they talk down to us, and it's like, no, dude, you grew up as the rich kid. If you're, you know what I mean? Like, if you're looking at sports fandom, exactly. It's like, you grew up the rich kid, like, hey, we had to starve for this shit. And when we do get our World Series, like we did in 95 and 21, like, it's meaningful.
We actually appreciate it, is the thing.
Yep.
And, if the Mighty Ducks taught me anything, is that eventually the cake eaters do go down. So eventually, Atlanta, I don't know how old I'm going to be. Hopefully it happens in my lifetime. But one day the Falcons will win a Super Bowl. One day.
They will, man. They will. They will.
But speaking of football, let's get
football.
ahead. Let's get into week 11 of the NFL. Let's go ahead and dive right in. So, as always, our football week starts on Thursdays. You're watching this on Thursday, so we always go back in time and go over the Thursday night football. This last Thursday night was the Patriots versus the Jets, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, this is fucking laughable. This matchup is going to be fucking ridiculous. And to an extent it was. I will tell you the Jets came out swinging more than I thought they would. They did lose 27-14, but the fact that they were able to put up 14 against the Patriots, who are 9-2 right now and who are heavily in first place, who absolutely have the playoffs clinched, who are doing extraordinary things. I think this is the first time they've got the playoffs clinched since Tom Brady era. So they're looking
I think that's true.
stellar
Yeah.
right now.
Yep.
Anyways, so the Jets did strike first, which was very surprising. I didn't even think the Jets were going to score an entire touchdown this entire game, but then the Patriots struck right back. Rookie Trayvon Henderson, he had two rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown, so 3 total. Tie up the game, take charge. Drake May was efficient. Drake May's looking good. And I'll tell you, people have been flirting with the idea of calling Drake May MVP. I think it's just because New England fans are how they are and they want to cause a lot of chatter. But when you're sitting 9-2 and they're winning, but when your team is sitting 9-2 and you're playing this effectively, it does kind of like beg the question. Like the MVP race is all over the place this year. And for this game, for instance, Drake May was 25 of 34, which is pretty good numbers. He had 281 yards. He spread the ball around really well. So the MVP race is going to be very tight this year. And Drake May definitely is putting his mark on it. He is becoming, part of the conversation. I'll tell you, the Patriots, they clinched their winning season for the first time since 2021. So it wasn't since the Tom Brady era, but since 2021, they're now clinching a winning season, which, good for them. Fuck the Patriots, but good for them. And
they went through a real rebuild, like a real rebuild that takes like 3 or 4 years. Remember they had Cam Newton, like for a year, while he was on his way out.
They had
a stopgap quarterback, but like a hell of a stopgap quarterback.
But I'm telling you, Cam Newton, that year he played for the Patriots until he got hurt, he was looking fucking phenomenal. He was
doing just fine, man.
But then he got hurt and he just never bounced back from that injury. But Cam Newton, like healthy Patriots, Cam Newton was fucking unbelievable. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was awesome. I will tell you, though, the Jets did start off with some promise. I think they might finally be able to figure out what they have to do to click. But even if you are figuring it out, even if you're getting your legs about you, you're not going to do it against this Patriots team. Not this Patriots team. You may do it against the Bengals, or you may do it. You're probably going to beat the Falcons, but you're not going to do it against the Patriots right now. And the Patriots.
Yeah, I think that one's in New York too, when the Falcons play the Jets.
And the Patriots,
not feeling great about it.
Like I was telling you, or like you were saying, the Patriots are showing maturity, and they know that you don't have to be perfect to win football games. You just have to know what to do better than the other person.
You just have to be balanced. If you're balanced as a football team, just like with your schemes, and I mean like run pass balance, and I mean like how much you're blitzing on defense. Like as long as you have those things, you give yourself a great chance to win. And the bad teams don't do that. The good teams do, and they build their rosters that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you have a roster like this, like I said, Trayvon Henderson, 3 touchdowns, 93 yards from scrimmage. Then you had Stephon Diggs, who granted is having more children this year than touchdowns he's had so far, but he did have 9 catches for 105 yards, which is a key chain mover. Drake May looked great. And then
that went by a little too fast. How many kids does he have now this year?
I think he's having 4 this year, and he's only had 3 touchdowns so far.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's a significant stat.
You got to get on your, you got to get with that pop culture, bro.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I don't keep up with baby mamas and all that stuff. And I like, I like talking about the game. But that is interesting. I did like that little factoid that you threw in there.
I will say, with everything against him, even with how the game turned out, Justin Fields did have a spark. He had 116 passing yards, 67 rushing yards, and a touchdown rush. But the support he has from the Jets is just lackluster. Especially, dude, they even traded away Sauce Gardner, who was, arguably their best player, even though he's on the defensive side of the ball. Defense wins games 9 times out of 10. So the Jets got a lot of work to do. I will say it's cool seeing some promise come out of them, but once again, you're not going to do it against this Patriots team, and especially not this 9-2 Patriots team.
And they're in hell.
Yeah,
the Jets are in hell.
Yeah. The Jets
we took them off. We took them off the trouble watch very early in the season. Yeah, because they're just in hell.
Yeah, they're just done. They're done.
Yeah.
However, I will say I keep telling you that I've never met a Jets fan, but then I start to feel like being a Falcons fan must feel like what it has felt to be a Jets fan all these years. Because now I think we're matching them in records and like losing seasons and shit like that. I think like us and the Jets are like historically becoming two of the worst teams in the NFL right now. So
I don't know. I don't know the stats on that, but you saying that, like, I would believe it to be true. It's sad.
Man,
it's sad.
Once again, must be nice to grow up a fucking New England fan. Anyways,
sure.
Anyways, so the Broncos, the fucking Broncos and Bo Nix, they beat Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. They beat it by a game-winning field goal at the end. But they did it, and because of this, Denver's in first place. They're really in first place. Denver came out; they're leading the AFC West. They looked
winning
more
a lot of close games, but like winning their games.
Yeah, and that's what you need to do. Once again, that's what you got to do in football. They're looking like a complete team. Bo Nix isn't having to do this all by himself. He's dealing out there, but the defense is turning into a problem. They're hitting key throws on third downs. They're not panicking when Kansas City is blitzing them. He's being poised out there. He's accurate. He's making good reads. He's spreading the ball around. He's not letting Kansas City's defense like key in on anyone when it comes to man-to-man or zone coverage. So he's really letting everything come out there and come his way. And I think he's also got a very comfortable pocket to rely on. And that's a lot of things that you don't see from other teams. But
that's why you got to draft for the trenches, man. Because you can put anybody back there. If they're protected and they have time to find their guys, you got a good chance.
And when it came to the defensive side of the ball, they just kept constant pressure on Mahomes. They had very tight coverage, which was the opposite of how Kansas City had on them. And they forced long drives, and they made it to where Mahomes had zero rhythm. It's, once again, one of those rare games you see out of Mahomes where he can't get it together. He can't find the man he's looking for. I do think that in this game, Travis Kelce did set a franchise record for most touchdowns for the Chiefs, which good for him. It was bound to happen. Travis Kelce's been a hell of a talent his entire career.
And getting the win is more important.
But the time of possession is also really what killed him. Denver was just being bullies out there. They controlled the clock. They kept Mahomes on the sideline damn near the whole game. I mean, even you saw him like at the end of the game, they won with a field goal. Mahomes sitting right there on the sidelines. Like if Mahomes isn't on the field and if you have the ball longer than they do, that's the key to beat Kansas City. It truly is.
That's like the mathematical equation, like for winning these games, for winning any games in the NFL. It's like if you can keep the other offense off the field, like that's how you do it. Long drives, defense, you get 3 and out, or you get it within 2-3 series and you get a punt out of it. I know this sounds like, simpleton, like bar sports talk, but like, no, but it really comes down to that.
It is simple.
It's frustrating when your favorite team can't fucking do that.
No, it is that simple, because I tell people all the time, when it comes to football, the clock is your best friend, because if I have the ball, that means they don't have the ball. So as long as I have the ball, they don't have the ball. And if I can keep the ball, I can win the game. That like it really is that simple.
If I can hold the ball while the clock is running.
Yeah.
And you're throwing incomplete passes when you need to be running the clock out.
Yeah.
If I could go back in time and talk to Kyle Shanahan about that, which seems like he hasn't really figured that out either. But anyways.
Yeah. But I mean,
I'm getting too emotional about this shit already.
We're
not even talking about the Falcons yet.
They were capitalizing on Kansas City's mistakes. I mean, the Chiefs had drop passes, missed protections. They had penalties that were killing drives. They had turnovers at the worst possible moments. And it begs the question, like, when it comes to Sean Payton's Broncos, should you be shocked by this? And the simple answer is not anymore. Like with the narrative hasn't caught up yet, because people don't still picture Denver as like, they still think of Denver as the mess they were a couple years ago, but they're not anymore. Bo Nix is legit. The defense is punching teams in the mouth. The coaching, Sean Payton, all that shit, it's clicking. They're winning divisional games, and they're doing it consistently. So honestly, you're gonna see Denver make a good playoff run this year. I'm not calling a Super Bowl. I never do that. I'm not going to tell you who's going to be in the Super Bowl, but I see. Man. Denver's going to make a good push this, and they're surprising a lot of doubters already. And don't be surprised if Denver makes it further than anybody expected this year. The Broncos D-line had Mahomes running the entire fucking game. Like, he got his steps in, he got his cardio in that game. They were chasing him all around. It was awesome, and their ground game was steady on the Denver side of the ball. So, you should not be surprised by the Broncos anymore. They really are those dudes right now. So kudos to them. Bo Nix out there doing their thing. it's awesome to see. It's good to see. It's good to see a team turn around that way, because like they were just like I was just saying, like a couple of years ago, like even maybe the season before last, they were the laughing stock of the NFL. Not anymore. Not anymore.
I think Bo Nix, I think he's maturing a lot, and I think he's good enough. Like, I'm not going to put him up there, you know. Honestly, I bet that like him and Drake May, I bet if you put their numbers like next to each other, they're probably pretty close. Bo Nix doesn't get talked in this MVP conversation like we've been hearing about Drake May, but I bet it's pretty close. And I don't know that for sure, but also competent coaching goes a long way. And Sean Payton has proven to be a competent coach. Like all those years with the Saints, those were like the most fun years of like Falcons and Saints like rivalries when he was there, because always had a good team. And I feel like that kind of competition in the division for the Falcons and the Saints was so much fun to watch, and probably kept both teams kind of like keeping up with it all the time. Sean Payton's first couple years in Denver weren't amazing, but maybe they're starting to put something together. I agree with you. I do think that they are going to be a playoff team. Like right now, they're sitting pretty, leading the division. Let's see what they do. Like I'm not going to go ahead and say that they're going to win a playoff game. Eventually, when we get to like Trouble Watch, I'm going to pull up the playoff standings and talk about who they would be facing right now. But yeah, no, like them winning the division, can totally see it at this point. And like you were saying, like this has a lot to do with the balance that they have on their defense. Their defensive line is scary and can do, you know, what they did to Patrick Mahomes. They can do it to anybody. And then when you can actually, you know, and they've had comebacks this year. Yeah. You know, like that New York game.
Good ones. Like good
that Giants game. They came back from like 19 down in like the fourth quarter or something.
If they were playing anybody but the Giants, do you think they would have been able to pull that off?
No, but the fact that they have that under their belt when they're playing someone good, like let's say they play the Patriots in the playoffs, you know, like they might be able to look at each other and say like, we've done this before. And you know, we didn't do it against, you know, a team this good. We did it against the Giants, who, let's be honest, like have a lot of talent, but incomplete and a lot of injuries and stuff. And who knows what the Patriots look like in this hypothetical matchup when we get to the playoffs.
Any game where you can do something historic like that is going to give you the confidence to think you can go out and do it again.
We've done it before. We've done it before, guys. Absolutely. Let's go out there and put it together. What do we have to do to get those next points? Don't worry about the 18 points we need right now. How do we go and get the next 6? You know?
How do we get this next first down? I can see them
doing that.
How do we run the clock? How do we get this next first down? Sure. What do we need right now? Do we need a field goal? If all we need is a field goal, let's fucking run it down to 10 seconds left on the clock and get a fucking field goal. You know, how do we get there? How do we get within 30 yards and win the fucking game? Just like they did on Sunday, you know?
Yeah.
But the next game, this is going to be a fun one. I think you've been itching to talk about this one. So the Ravens beat the Browns 23-16, and we finally saw the debut of Shedeur Sanders. And let me tell you, you did call this. I didn't think it was
like
going to happen.
6 weeks ago, I called this.
But there's a reason it happened. Dylan Gabriel went down with a concussion. So then enter Shedeur Sanders, the moment everybody's been waiting for. And what did he do? 4 for 16.
He didn't do shit.
4 for 16, 47 yards, 1 interception, 1 fumble, and a few rushes. He had 3 carries for 16 yards. It was fucking terrible, to the point where he even admitted, I don't think I played good at all. Well, guess what? You didn't. You look fucking awful. You look fucking terrible.
Did we expect him to be like NFL ready though? Especially on a day where it's like,
but I expected better than this.
Yeah. On the Browns, and I'm not going to sit here and like make up excuses for Shedeur Sanders, but like let's be real though. Like if he had a week to know that he was going to be the starter, and he like went through reps as being the starter and working with the rest of the starters like at practice and all of that, I don't know. So I'm not going to judge him too hard on that. And I mean, you and me, I don't think we're both like, I don't think either of us are like big Shedeur Sanders like believers. You know,
and it's nothing against him personally. It's not that I don't like the kid. Like I'll tell you this.
Same here.
And I'll use this as an example with how much I love Baker Mayfield. It's obvious that I love arrogance. I love cocky football players. I love arrogant football players. I love his dad. Deion Sanders is one of the few jerseys I have. Like I love arrogance, but I love it when you can.
Thankfully, you have the Falcons one.
Yeah, but I love it when you can back it up. When you're arrogant out of the gate and you don't have a fucking goddamn reason in the world to be it, and your playing can't back it up with the level of arrogance this kid has, I expected him to go out there and win the fucking game. I did, but like you can't be this arrogant and this cocky and put up these kinds of numbers. So of anything else, I hope this was nothing more than a learning experience to him, because I have nothing against him personally, because I like the arrogance. I love it. I love Ray Lewis. I love Deion Sanders. I love Baker Mayfield. I love players who tell you I'm better than you and I'm going to prove it to you. But you've got to have that second part of the statement. You've got to prove to me that you're that good, and then be as arrogant as you fucking want until somebody shuts you up. You know, I
like
don't
the
give a
Nolan
shit.
Ryan type guy.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
I'm going to tell you what I'm going to throw to you, and I promise you that you're
not going to hit it.
Yeah.
You're not going to hit it. I'm going to throw a fastball right down the middle, and you're not even going to blink, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And like, I'll tell you, if I was that good at something, I would be that arrogant about it. And the things in my personal life that I am that good about, I am that arrogant about. Absolutely. Sure. I am.
Yeah.
You know,
I can be that way. I mean, depending on who I'm talking to, obviously I know like if someone's way better than me at whatever I'm doing, you know, but if someone wants to come talk shit, it's like, all right, time for you to learn.
Yeah.
You know,
but ultimately,
Shedeur, hopefully he gets there. Like, you know, him getting thrown in like this and the amount of national attention that he gets, you know, I kind of feel bad for him a little bit. We did call the situation. And if I were Shedeur playing with Cleveland, you know, again, this might be why he was okay, like getting drafted there, because he knew his time was going to come, like when he'd get to play versus if he went to Baltimore, you know?
I mean, yes, because in hindsight, nobody would have been able to tell that Lamar was going to go down with a hamstring injury this year, and he didn't know that he would have been able to play. But if you dig into the game a little bit more, I mean, I will tell you, there wasn't that big of a margin of victory. You know, the Ravens only won by a touchdown. But the thing is,
low-scoring game,
the Ravens are more experienced in closing games than the Browns are, period. And the Browns did have flashes, but they just have so much inconsistency, especially under a rookie quarterback coming in when they've already been inconsistent at quarterback. So I'll tell you, Shedeur was kind of set up for failure to begin with. But a win for Baltimore makes sense in this. The shock part is that Cleveland was almost there, though. That's what's shocking about it. So that does speak to their potential. And I feel like Cleveland just has a few more key things they have to put together to they're not, I'm not saying playoff caliber. I'm not saying anything like that, but to just be a good opponent, just to be a team that you have to like really fucking study, really try hard against to beat. They're just missing a few more key components there until they're that team, you know?
Yeah. And look, so I was talking last week, like they could go on a run here. They won 4 straight now. Their next game is the Jets. The game after that is the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
They're 5-5 now. I can see them climbing back in this, man. I can see them climbing back in this, having Lamar. You know, ugly win is better than a pretty loss. So you only beat the Browns by a touchdown. That does not matter.
And I'll tell you that loss they had against the Bills, that was a pretty loss, you know, but it was
a pretty loss, but it's a loss. You know, we're always going to look back and be like, oh, well, that's why they had this awful start. But it's like, damn, you almost beat, you know, one of the Super Bowl contenders in the league, you know?
But, you know, back in the 90s, Monica taught us that almost doesn't count, you know?
That's true, man. So I've heard.
But moving on to the next game, we got the Bills versus the Buccaneers, which was a shootout by all means, especially when it comes to Josh Allen. Josh Allen fucking exploded on that game. He had 19 of 30 passes, 317 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and 3 rushing touchdowns. So Josh Allen by himself had 6 total fucking touchdowns. Every touchdown they had was Josh Allen. His name was written all over that game. I feel like you saw a lot of playful banter between him and Baker leading up to this, kind of taking jabs at each other. I think you can kind of tell that there's some camaraderie there, because Josh Allen is kind of the opposite. He's kind of like the quiet guy who's going to show you how good he is, and Baker's the loudmouth who's going to show you how good he is. And
I bet Josh Allen's not that quiet on the field, though. I bet he talks shit.
I feel like to be a good professional athlete, you have to be able to talk shit. Right. You absolutely have to be, or you're just so quiet that it's intimidating. You know, you're either the most silent.
You're like a Tim Duncan type, yeah.
Because there's certain players. I could be wrong. I think Larry Fitzgerald was one of them that was just quiet, but in like he'd knock you down and like help you back up after he caught the ball in your face and shit like that.
And then he talks shit as he's helping you back up.
And then Tim Duncan.
Sorry,
like
I had to do that to you. Yeah.
Tim Duncan wouldn't say a fucking word the entire game, and he would just poster people, you know?
Yeah. No, yeah. Well, some of my favorite stories, and not to get like too off subject, was Kevin Garnett telling stories about Tim Duncan. And Kevin Garnett is one of the loudest guys that have ever played NBA basketball, and an absolute dog, unbelievable player, one of my favorite players ever. He would just like whenever he's guarding Tim Duncan would be just like, "Ooh, oh, you gonna do it like that?" And then just whoosh, he's got you. You know, it's like he was so quiet, but he would just like say little things to where it's like this. Dude, it's not even bothering this motherfucker.
That's you know, coming from construction, that's the most irritating thing for somebody to do, to come up to you and be like, "You sure you want to do it that way?
Yeah, you gonna do it like that?
Sure you're gonna do it like that?
Yeah, I've seen it done 1,000 ways. I've never seen it done like that." And then you just walk away. Yeah.
Or on the other hand, you could be like Hines Ward, who just never stops smiling, and that pisses people off.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's nothing you can do to affect him at all.
But yeah,
that's like the ultimate cockiness, which is also seems humble. Yeah, it seems humble, but it's like no, he's clowning you because he's telling you that you cannot affect his game at all.
But yeah, back to the game. Josh Allen did have 2 interceptions, but I mean, despite that, he bounced back, sealed the deal with rushing touchdowns and the fucking other touchdowns he got. You know, the Bucks actually had the run game going. Sean Tucker had 106 yards with 2 rush touchdowns and a receiving touchdown, but they just kept trading blows instead of building control. It was really, I would say it was the whole team, but it was really Josh Allen who was really exposing the holes in the defense that they had. Sure. When it went wrong for the Bucks, they committed to some classic self-inflicted wounds, special teams issues, questionable decisions when you're trailing, the inability to stop Buffalo in key moments. They danced with the Bills, and they just fucking, they couldn't get it done.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, the injuries that Tampa's dealing with right now, it's like, when you play a team like that, I mean, I think they're still going to run away with the division, and we'll talk about Carolina later because like they're the only ones threatening them in the division right now. And
right,
I think I think they're going to play each other again. That race could get tight, but I'd say the Buccaneers probably going to get a home playoff game. Yeah, let's see what happens after that. Last year they went on a run, for a little bit, winning 2 straight, or did they only win 1 straight? Because, they didn't get to the NFC title game. Mm-hmm. But who knows, man? Like, let's see. If they're healthier then, they might be all right.
But obviously, I can't mention the Buccaneers without mentioning Baker Mayfield. Of course. Not flashes of brilliance, but also... flashes of brilliance, but also flashes of things that needed to tighten up, because he was 28 for 49. That means he was pretty much 50% out there. He only had 173 passing yards. He did have a passing touchdown, but he also had an interception. But he did add a rushing touchdown because Baker will scramble when he needs to, and he's good at it. Baker, the thing
find
about
a way.
Baker's got that mode in him where he's not going to go down without a fight. You're not going to just have your way with Baker Mayfield. Even if you luck up and get a sack on him, it's not going to be an easy sack. So it gets to the point where, like, for me, am I still considering Baker Mayfield MVP when it has things like this going on? Because in the 2025 season, he's been a real pull up for your team type of guy. He's been putting the team on his back. And now you've seen them with 2 straight losses. Things aren't getting any easier for Baker. And because of the team around him, you're going to start seeing his numbers dwindle. You're already seeing his yardage dwindle. You're already seeing his touchdowns dwindle. He's already throwing more interceptions than normal. And I'll tell you this, I won't say he's out of the conversation because this is a story year for him. He's been strong, but the thing is, he's going to have to go on a tear. He's going to have to go on a victory tear, or, he's going to have to finish out the season like that, or the MVP talk is over. But I think all things considering, with the way the season went for him, it's okay not to be MVP this year. You had so many odds stacked against you that now just like, it's almost like going into survival mode right now, because he's not going to be able to continue to have the MVP season with the team he's got around him. I'm not counting him out yet, but I don't think my hopes are very strong for seeing Baker in the MVP race anymore.
I agree with that. And it's, that's why we don't pick the MVP, at week 7.
I know. And I did. I did.
Yeah.
I
Well,
did.
I mean, look, dude, we're doing a sports show, so it's
I
like
got excited,
we're going
man.
to say. I know you did. I said that. Well, I think Bijan Robinson should be giving him
Nope.
a run for his money, but no,
Nope.
that's not happening.
Nope.
Um,
But his problems are different. Bijan,
yeah, for
well,
sure.
no, Bijan is kind of facing what Baker's facing. Is Bijan can't be MVP because of the team around him, just like Baker can't be MVP because of the team around him. Because I swear to God, if you put Bijan on the Colts, if you put Bijan on Kansas City, even maybe, if you put Bijan on maybe even the Chargers, who have
You mean teams with good
really good
coaching?
line. With good coaching and good offensive lines, people who can actually
Yep.
block, people who can
Yep.
create holes for you. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? You put Bijan on the Ravens, he might be MVP.
Sure. Well, I don't know. That's hard to say because Derrick Henry's already there, and it's like we're not talking about him being MVP. And I'm not
Derrick
going to sit
Henry.
here and act like
Okay.
Bijan is way better than Derrick Henry.
No.
I think they belong in the same group, but
You got to understand, Derrick Henry is having monster games this year, but Derrick Henry is also hitting the special running back age, where once you get to a certain age, your knees, dude. I'm telling you, I'm 35 and I'm not an athlete, and my knees hate me. So I can only imagine being 5 years younger, but being a running back since the age of 7, how my knees would be reacting, and not only being a running back, but being a running back of Derrick Henry's caliber. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we may have talked about this before on the show, but it's like when you talk about evaluating football players in the NFL, like it is something you have to remind yourself, like when these guys get to be in their 30s, it's like this guy has been playing football since he was 12 years old or younger.
Exactly.
And what that does to your body. And now, when he started playing, he was, 80 pounds. Now he's, 200 and right. He's 220, and what that does to your bones and running that way and running into people like full speed, it does a lot more damage to your body and running against people who are that same size, maybe bigger.
Yeah.
Think about being Derrick Henry and running into Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
That's a lot of force.
Because to your point, you got to think that by the time a guy makes it to the NFL, he's likely been playing football for, 12 to 15 years, considering, if he played Pop
That's a young
Warner or
guy.
not.
That's a young guy.
And that's a young guy.
Yeah.
But you got to think, if he's been playing for 12 to 15 years, so have his knees, so has his tendons, so has his ACL.
And all
so
the
has his
injuries that have
ankles,
happened that they hid while he was in high school or they hid during college.
And you got to think in high school and in Pee Wee and stuff, you had longer off seasons. So it's like, oh, I sprained my ankle. Okay, you're about to not play for an entire summer. Your fucking practice doesn't start until the tail end of July. You're about to play video games and fuck off and get fat. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not doing this year-round intense training. So by the time you play high school, where high school does get intense, and then you play college, where college can be more intense than the NFL, depending on who you play for.
Sometimes,
and then you're going to the NFL. You've got 9 years of wear and tear on your body right there before you're a fucking rookie. And then you play in the NFL for 7 years. Dude, your knees, your ankles, your joints,
people start counting. They're like, this guy's
more.
making this many millions and he's not doing shit. It's like there's a lot more pressure when you get to that point.
Yeah, and there's a lot of surgeries he's about to have to pay for the rest of his life.
Sure. Well, NFL is a union job, and I think that you are like covered when it comes to stuff like that. But like, it's not like you get to walk away like a wounded veteran. Like, oh, I got a Purple Heart, so I do get I get paid this much because I got injured in battle. It's like,
no, dude, you open a car dealership is what you do.
Yeah, you do. And it's like, hopefully you made enough of a career for people to like come buy cars from your car dealership,
Yeah.
It can be scary as hell.
Hopefully you don't do what a lot of guys. Oh, so before we get into the Steelers-Bengals game, I did want to say, I didn't watch. Well, I can save it. I can save it for the next game. Let's go ahead and jump into the Steelers versus Bengals because it was round 2, Steelers versus Bengals.
Yep.
The Steelers,
last one was a great matchup.
Yeah, this one wasn't. The Steelers fucking dominated. The Steelers won 34-12. They had big plays, defensive scoring. Fucking Joe Flacco only went 23 of 40. But you did see Aaron Rodgers leave the game during the second quarter with a wrist injury. At that point, he had already thrown for 116 and a touchdown. But then Mason Rudolph, who I feel like Mason Rudolph has been playing for them for forever, because I remember back when Mason Rudolph got hit in the head with Myles Garrett's helmet for saying some fuck shit on the field. Like, he's been there forever, dude.
Be careful doing that in front of Myles Garrett.
Yeah, for real. I mean,
I would think about every word that came out of my mouth if I was in front of Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I know. And like then you saw Mason Rudolph start, then you saw him get replaced with Duck Hodges. Now he's getting replaced with Aaron Rodgers. But he's still not bad, because if you look at his numbers, he had 12 of 16 for 127 and a touchdown with 0 interceptions. So not so bad, not so bad.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the Bengals, man, the Bengals have fallen off a trouble watch. The Bengals are just fucking bad. The Bengals,
and they were talking last week. We forgot to bring up last week that they were talking about rumors that Joe Burrow would be ready to come back and start. And we've been saying all year, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Take the draft pick and bring him out next year.
But I did see something that was really funny. That Joe Flacco has the opportunity to do the funniest thing, and that's have Joe Burrow come back and then go to the Steelers and replace Aaron Rodgers for the remainder of the season.
Well, no, he can't. The trade deadline's already passed.
Yeah, I know, but that would have been hilarious.
That would have been hilarious. Yeah.
But speaking of some wacky shit, so yeah, well, I mean, I don't want Joe Burrow to come back, because I see that young man getting injured again, and I just don't want it to happen.
Not worth it.
The way this injuries. But speaking of some wacky shit, so Jamar Chase and Jalen Ramsey got into it, and Jamar Chase ended up spitting on Jalen Ramsey, and all hell broke loose. Jamar Chase ended up getting fined $500,000 and suspended for 1 game. But what's wacky about it is Jamar Chase in the post-game interview says, "I didn't spit on nobody." When you watch the video back, it's not one of those like blink and you'll miss it thing. It's not one of those maybe he did, maybe he didn't. He clear as day fucking
he like winds up for it. Yeah.
He clear as day spit on that man. And what the fuck else are you supposed to do if somebody spits on you? You better beat the shit out of them. I don't care how big they are. I don't care anything. You better beat the hell out of them.
And no matter the professional situation, it's like, well, you just don't do it at work.
No.
And it's like, but if someone does that to you, you don't have a choice.
If somebody spits on me at work, I'm smacking the shit out of them. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I have to. And it's not a macho thing. It's not a man thing. It's none of that thing. It's like a human decency thing.
It's a self-respect thing.
If you're going to show me that level of disrespect, I have to disrespect you back. I have to.
Right.
I absolutely have to. And it even boils down to, in a post-game interview, Mike Tomlin, the head coach of the Steelers, even had Jalen Ramsey's back. And he publicly said, if somebody spits on you, you handle it the way you feel necessary. And that's exactly what Jalen Ramsey did.
Right. Yeah. Somebody crosses the line like that. It's like Will Smith getting up and slapping Chris Rock. And like Chris Rock not doing anything. Like, I commend him for it. But at that point, it's like, it's all off then.
Yeah. I feel like Chris Rock
come up and do that shit.
A state of shock though. Like
he was. He definitely was. And I don't blame him for reacting the way that he did. Yeah, because he was just like, this is really fucking happening right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like one of those situations. Like someone gets up and they want to do that. All bets are off. And now like y'all can judge me however you want. But what would you do?
Yeah. Yeah. You better fight back.
Yeah.
But the game I was about to go into, this is the Monday night game. So truth be told, I did not watch this Monday night football game because there was something more important going on. I have been a wrestling fan my entire life, and Monday night was John Cena's very last WWE Monday Night Raw. So he had his final. It's not his final match. He still has a couple matches left, but his final Monday Night Raw was on Monday, and I absolutely had to watch it. But something that happened on Monday Night Raw, they were in New York, and of all people in the crowd, Cam Scattaboo was in the crowd.
I heard about this. Cam
Scattaboo got involved in the action. He didn't get in the ring or anything like that. He's still obviously injured, but you do see Cam Scattaboo get up and shove one of the members of the Judgment Day, and now You go to the WWE shop, they've got Cam Scattaboo merch and T-shirts and everything available to buy from the WWE. So good for you, Cam Scattaboo. You're living a childhood dream right there.
He did say something on Twitter this week. I don't know if you saw it, and this may have been like today or yesterday, but apparently there's been a lot of like New York Giants fans being like, oh, you can't play for us, but you could go and do this shit at the WWE. And he basically came back. Well, he basically came back like saying like, look, you know, I can't play football right now. And if you guys are going to be mad about me going out and like doing things with my time, like you can basically go fuck yourself.
Yeah. And that's how it should be.
Absolutely.
Because he's got a knee injury. And if you watch,
he can't play football, guys. He can't
play football.
Not right now. He
stood up and he shoved the guy. All he did was use his arms. And if you didn't know,
can he go out and have fun and maybe make some money?
I'm also going to let you. I'm also going to let you know something that I don't know if these guys who are getting angry know. Wrestling, they're not actually hurting each other. I don't know if you knew that or not.
What are you saying?
I'm sorry to break it to you.
It's fake or something?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And, you know, Santa's
you
not real.
You mean Stone Cold
either,
Steve
dude.
Austin didn't really give Donald Trump a Stone Cold Stunner?
I mean, he
live
did
on
give
TV.
It to him. He did give it to him. It just didn't hurt.
What? You're joking.
No, I'm real. I'm telling the truth. Truth. But
well, that was a good episode, man. All right, guys, we'll see you next week.
But with that being said, wrestling's the coolest fucking thing in the entire world, and I love it. One of the coolest things. Second to football.
I miss it. I wish I was like as invested in it like as I used to be, because that was my first introduction to like being a sports fan.
Oh, dude, yeah. You know? I feel like wrestling is what got me into football.
Yeah, and looking back, it kind of was the same thing for me. It's like it was wrestling. Dude. Falcons got the Super Bowl with Chris Chandler.
One of the coolest moments of our life. You know, the
Jamal
Anderson.
Heat. Yeah, exactly. And then after that, it was like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Undertaker, like that era, happened consecutively after that. And then all of a sudden, Michael Vick's playing in Atlanta. And I just kind of continued that trajectory.
Yeah, man. I mean, for me, it was the Olympics. It was wrestling. It was the Georgia Dome having Monday Night Nitro every fucking Monday night, damn near. It was the Falcons going to the Super Bowl. Braves winning the World Series. Like, dude, the 90s were fucking lit, bro.
For us,
yeah. Dude, what was cool, and I'm getting off the rails, but what was cool about the 96 Olympics is where I lived in Clayton County, at the Clayton, it was called Atlanta Beach back then, but it's now the Clayton County Aquatic Center. So the beach volleyball tournament was played there, and it was like less than a mile from my house. So at school, they had us make all these like paper mache like torches and shit, and I lived off of 138, the side of 138 that turns into Stockbridge Road that runs through Jonesboro, runs through like downtown Jonesboro.
I grew up on 138 too, but on the other side.
But so we all went to the end of our driveways and we held up the paper mache fucking torches we made, and one of the Olympic torch runners ran through the city of Jonesboro because they were having the fucking Olympic Games at Atlanta Beach. So I got to watch like an Olympic torch runner run like right in front of my house when I was a little kid. It was fucking awesome.
Nice. Yeah, that's fucking cool. Yeah, I went to that year. I went to volleyball. I went to NBA, or I went to basketball. But it was the year, and it was 96. You would think like, oh, you got to see Michael Jordan, but it was the Michael Jordan retirement year.
He didn't play.
Yeah,
he didn't play.
But those are the only two events that I went to.
My cousin Ian, who I do the other podcast with, his aunt was like part of the catering or part of like the event coordinating for the Olympics. So he got to go into the Olympic like private events, and he got to meet like Muhammad Ali and Michael Jordan and all these other celebrities. He's got a bunch of pictures of it when he was a kid. And my grandmother was one of the seamstresses. She made the costumes. Do you know those costumes that looked like white Hershey's Kisses that all the little kids were running around wearing? She fucking she made a bunch of those. So we got to go do some Olympic events and stuff. Anyways, back to Monday Night Football. The Cowboys.
Yep.
The Cowboys were able to beat the Raiders 33-16, as they should have. The Raiders are fucking hot trash. But what's weird is Lamb and Pickens were not on field for opening possession. It raised some eyebrows because it wasn't It wasn't injury related.
Right.
It was a head coaching decision. The head coach said they missed a couple of things, and Lamb said that he wasn't going to go in depth about that, honestly. But I didn't watch the game. All I know is Dak Prescott looked sharp. Dak Prescott had 25 of 33, 268 yards, 4 touchdowns, which that's fucking stellar. Pickens had 9 receptions, 144 yards and a touchdown. Lamb, 5 catches, 66 yards and a touchdown. They look good. I think this game might actually be good enough to take them off a trouble watch for this week at least. So, yeah, I mean, good for Dallas. Good for Dallas. I didn't watch the game, but good for Dallas.
Good for them, yeah. And I've been saying kind of all season is Dak Prescott's having a great year. Their defense is making it hard for them to win games, unfortunately. But who knows? We could see that. I mean, the Eagles are running away with that division. I don't think that's surprising. And I want to say that Dallas is second in that division right now. The Giants are injured. Washington is injured. So, I mean, I don't know. Dallas maybe sneaking in, taking a NFC
Washington
wild card.
did win a game, but they won against the Dolphins. So,
yep.
Take that how you want to.
Wait a minute. Are you sure?
Yeah, didn't they beat the Dolphins? Or did the Dolphins beat them? No, the Dolphins
I think the Dolphins beat them, yeah.
Yeah, I got that backwards. The Dolphins beat them. Never mind.
Yeah, nah, Washington's cooked.
Yeah.
Maybe they're a trouble watch team. We'll see. I don't know.
I put them on the trouble watch last week. I did.
Yep. And look, the trouble watch is a stage to hell. Yes. Okay, like trouble watch is like you're in purgatory. You're in danger right now.
Yeah.
Like you got to figure this out. Are you going up and to glory, or are you going to hell?
Yeah. And speaking of the trouble watch, speaking of the trouble watch, let's dive right into it. And I'm going to start the trouble watch off with the Los Angeles Chargers. I put them on there last week. I'm reiterating this because they were just blown out by a fellow trouble watch team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Chargers showed 2 things in this. They showed that they're fragile, and they showed they're inconsistent. The defense was giving up too many big plays. The talent's there. And I've been saying how Herbert and Allen and everybody, the talent's there. But the execution in critical moments isn't. And it's awful when you look at their head coaching because, like, their coach is great. I feel like their coach is phenomenal. I feel like he could turn this around.
Yeah, I like Jim Harbaugh a lot.
Yeah. It's just they were losing key third down stops. The team doesn't have a lot of, like, go-to identity. And the playoff window is still open, but it's thinning. So you guys, you're in trouble. You need to watch out. Number 2 team.
Well, I will say, hold on. I will say about Jacksonville. So Jacksonville, used to be a trouble watch team. Now they're sitting as the last like AFC wildcard spot.
Yeah,
they're keeping the Chiefs out of the playoff run right now.
Yes, they are
because the Chiefs lost that head-to-head matchup against them,
and they might continue to do so.
They might, yeah. Because they're a full game ahead of them, and they hold a tiebreaker against them, a head-to-head tiebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
I don't know.
And speaking of the Chiefs, number 2 on the trouble watch,
there we go.
Kansas City Chiefs. And this is the reason they're here. Because when you have a franchise quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, you are expected to show up in big moments like playing the Denver Broncos, and they didn't. So, and these losses are stacking, and their margin for error in the AFC West and the playoffs is not going to widen. So they've got to do something about this. They're making drops. They're making missed blocks. They're having penalties at the worst times. Their headline players are underperforming, and the fallback has to be system, and execution, and their system and execution is really shaky right now. So every AFC West clash is magnified now, and they have to win them if they're going to stay legitimate. And if they're not doing that, they're going to stay in trouble.
Yeah, one of the things that with the Chiefs is like we've been talking about the last couple weeks, and it's kind of like on and off with the Chiefs because every time they do something well, we're like, there they are. That's the team you should be afraid of. But it's like, it feels like when they don't take games seriously, they lose.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I made the same criticism of the Bills last week. But now it's like, all right, Chiefs, you're 5-5 right now. You're not only competing with the Jaguars for this, for this wild card spot, which if they get a wild card spot, like beware, and I'm still going to say that.
Yeah,
But you're also competing
absolutely.
with the Ravens.
Yeah.
They're 5-5 now.
The Ravens are on fire, but I will say historically, the Chiefs are one of those teams when the pressure's on, they do know how to perform under pressure.
Right.
But I think,
but when are we going to see it?
yeah,
Like when is the
that's
pressure
point I
really
was gonna
on for
make,
them? Yeah.
Because in all honesty, to me, the pressure was on Sunday against the Broncos. That's when the pressure was on.
Should have beat them. You're a better team, and now we're looking at the Broncos as like, hey, this is a team, don't take them lightly because they can do it to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And they can do major comebacks and they can beat, people like the Chiefs. So I don't know. The Chiefs for me, it's like, I know that when you guys take it seriously, you're a world beater.
Mm-hmm.
But when are you guys going to turn it on? Because it seems like it's a switch that you guys can flip whenever you want.
And the team you have right now isn't going to be around much longer,
No. The window's closing.
I mean, you're going to have Mahomes, but you're not going to have Kelsey. You're not going to have Chris Jones. You're not going to have these guys you've been depending on, so.
And they've done a good job of like putting the team together, like after Super Bowls. Like normally after a Super Bowl, you lose a lot of players, you lose a lot of coaches. As long as you keep the core together, we're going to keep winning. They've done that. And they've brought in like supplemental guys. Last year, it was a little shaky. They did make it to the Super Bowl, got their ass beat.
Stomped.
Yeah. This year, it's like, I can't count you out yet, but like, when are you going to turn it on?
No. I'll tell you. I am just very firmly telling them they're in trouble. I am not counting them out.
I think they're in trouble too.
You would be foolish to count out Patrick Mahomes. Foolish.
Right. But there are guys like catching fire in the AFC, and it could come down to like
there's a lot
the
of
Jaguars just winning
this year.
Yeah, sure. And the Jaguars, I would put in that. It's like the Jaguars, the Bears, another one. Mm-hmm. Not to get too off topic, but in the NFC, the Bears, like we're talking shit about them at the beginning of the season. Shout out to my
not
Bears
no
folks.
I'm not talking any more shit about them.
Not anymore.
Right now.
Not anymore. And we interviewed Ben Johnson to be our head coach, but whatever.
Yep. Whatever. Moving along, number 3 on this week's Trouble Watch. It's the Minnesota Vikings, and I'll tell you, I love this team. I love their promise. They have the tools. They have flashes of brilliance, but the consistency is just missing, man, because they really do have the weapons. They really do have the ability to be on the winning side of football. They just do not have the consistency to close out games and make it happen. And they do just enough to keep your hope alive. And in all honesty, coming from a Falcons fan, doing just enough to keep your hope alive is honestly worse than failing. It's worse than just going out there and bombing, because it keeps fans hanging, and that's what you want, They've got some must-win games coming up, and if they don't pull it out, goodbye,
Right. Yeah. I mean, like they've had a lot of quarterback trouble this year. I think the defense has been good most of the year.
Yeah, it's been all right.
I like Brian Flores, their defensive coordinator. I like Kubiak. Like the coaching over there, like seems to be pretty good. But yeah, the quarterback situation, like them going to JJ McCarthy, seems like taking a bet, hasn't exactly paid off yet. He's had a couple good games. He was injured for a long time. You got through that stretch with Carson Wentz and kind of stayed relevant or got back to relevancy.
I mean, Wentz looked good, but then,
But then he ultimately looked like himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think putting them on the trouble watch, I totally agree with that, because it's now or never. They got to step it up or not. You're in a division with the Packers and the Bears.
Yeah. And I got 2 more teams. I got the Buccaneers for obvious reasons. I don't feel like I got to go into that. I've been talking about the Buccaneers
and Carolina coming up on them.
Yep. Yeah, and that's gonna. I think we were saying 2 weeks ago, that's really going to be a game to watch. It's going to be a game to look out for. But who I do have on the trouble watch, and we're going to close out the trouble watch before we go into the Falcons game, is the Detroit Lions. And the reason they're here is they've been super inconsistent, and they didn't just lose to the Eagles. They got fucking blown out of them. And I'll tell you, they are missing their star tight end. They're missing Sam Laporta, but you can't build wins around one person, especially when it's your tight end. It wasn't just a bad day. It exposed that they have big gaps. They looked good in patches, but it's hard. It's hard when you look good in a blowout. It's hard when people are like, oh, that looked good. Oh shit, but look at the scoreboard.
Right.
You got to understand, like I've been saying this all season when it comes to the Lions, do they have what it takes when they're facing like formidable opponents, when they're facing the big guys, and it's not looking like they do?
No, yeah, I'm totally with you. And I brought this about them earlier. It's like, and I know they've had flashes of like they can put up a lot of points. I think like last week they put up like over 30 points or something, but their offense kind of looks
But they're winning
lackluster.
easy games.
They
You
are.
know what I'm saying?
And that's good.
Games.
That's a sign of a good team, is that you're beating teams that are worse than you. But like when it comes down to it, it's like you guys don't seem that scary. If I was with a good team, I'd say like I think we could get this one. I know they're good. It's gonna be competitive, and they're kind of in that purgatory of like this team's good enough to beat us, so we better show up. Like they're not gonna get the advantage of like we think we're better than them, and they come in and fuck us up. Like the Dolphins are doing that now.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that they're better than them, and the Dolphins are gonna come in like if you're not prepared, they might fuck you up.
Yeah,
But with the Lions, it's like I feel like a lot of teams are going to be prepared
honestly,
for them.
that same scenario is happening to the Falcons. It's just the Falcons are easy to prepare for.
Yes. We can get into that.
So the Falcons loss, it was one of those games, you're looking at it, and it's one of those, we can win, we should win, we're about to win, and then holy shit, Penix gets hurt, and then Cousins comes in the game, and at that moment, I knew everything was going to fucking fall apart, because you cannot depend on Cousins at all. Cousins looked fucking rough. This is not a quarterback controversy resolution. If anything, it opened more questions about what we're going to do at quarterback. And it's also, I was looking at a stat in the 8 years of Penix's career from college now, or no, this is his 8th injury or something like that. So what's going to happen when number 9 happens? What's going to happen next season when he gets hurt again? Because it's going to fucking happen. And unfortunately, what we can't do, we're going to have a high draft pick. We can't get another we can't get a good quarterback.
We are not going to have another high draft pick. We traded it away.
No, that's what I'm saying. We traded it away, so we can't get another good quarterback unless we make some crazy moves where we trade people away for draft picks. I don't know who we're going to trade away, because we kind of need everyone we have. But when it comes to cleaning house, let's just get into this fucking game before I get too ahead of myself. Because not only that, you had Drake London get hurt, and then Carolina was doubling Bijan, and then we had this scheme where you saw us in the week against the Colts, where it's like, okay, well, our run defense is trash. Let's fix our run defense. We fixed our run defense. Guess what we didn't pay attention to was our pass defense. You can't have one without the other. You got to.
That was a little surprising, for me.
Yeah, you got to pick both sides of the ball. So it's like you did completely fix your fucking run defense to the point where we were stuffing the run, but then you had Bryce fucking Young set a fucking franchise record of over 400 yards on us. So explain that. I don't even know where to start with this shit.
That was the most shocking thing to me about this game was the pass defense being like that. I don't know, because it felt like we still had pass rush like throughout the game. I know we didn't have like 7 sacks like we had, against the Colts, but we were almost getting there. And I don't know. To me, it's like it wasn't so much about the defense in this game, and it normally isn't when we're talking about the Falcons this season. It's always about the offense. And I'll say, like, that first half from Michael Penix was incredible.
Yeah,
he was like 11 for 12.
It was amazing
in the first half.
It was amazing.
And then
I got his numbers right here. He until his injury, he was 17 for 23, 214 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. He looked like the better quarterback because he fucking was. And then of course tragedy strikes and he gets fucking hurt. And on top of that, we don't know when he's going to come back. We don't know when he's going to come back. This could potentially end his fucking season.
No, and I think it is going to end his season. So the Falcons have not been very transparent with any of the injuries that are happening. With Michael Penix, I think we heard, there's a lot of noise around the team. The team wouldn't say this, but every reporter that reports on the Falcons that are there every Sunday and are actually like in the room and talk to players and talk to training staff and all that said that looked like he tore his ACL. By the way, this is the one knee that he hasn't torn his ACL. I think the other knee he's torn twice. So now he has he potentially could have 2 reconstructed knees coming back into the NFL.
Well, not on top of that, when we drafted him, he was coming off of a fucking injury from college.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. To me, man, like, first thing is like, I feel bad for the kid. Like, this is scary for Michael Penix.
Yeah, absolutely.
He may not be a starter in the NFL ever again. He may not. Like, we don't really know yet. So they are going to get a second opinion, but we do know that Emory said that they think it's a tear and that it needs to be reconstructed, and you probably need to have the surgery now if you want to play next season almost at all.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the second opinion says. Like, maybe he goes, full Phillip Rivers, and he goes out there and he's wearing a boot and he's, completely immobile and he's going to throw, but I don't think he's Phillip Rivers.
He's not capable of that. He's not capable of that.
So
not capable of that. And now what we have to look forward to is now we have Kirk Cousins, who, like, we have Kirk Cousins without Drake London, and when London goes down, nobody else can carry the passing game, nobody at all. Nope. And then we need Minnesota Superman Cousins, and that's not the fucking Cousins we're gonna get. He looks like a fucking rusty lawnmower out there. He looks fucking terrible out there. And if Penix misses time, which he's going to, we have to rely on Kirk to step up. And then what's going to happen when Kirk gets hurt? Because he's 40 fucking years old or close to it. And if you think about it, he's coming off of an Achilles pop a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, less than 2 years ago, I think, or maybe right at 2 years when it happened to him. Because I think he played till like week 8 the year before he signed with the Falcons. So,
well, not just that, he got hurt last year and tried to lie about it. So he's not the healthiest quarterback there is right now. You got to think he's got
definitely
age,
not.
He's got
he's
age,
the wealthiest.
He's got wear and tear. He's got a reconstructed Achilles. He's got a fucked up shoulder, and on top of that, he's rusty because you're throwing him in to games where he's got to try to do shit where he hasn't started a game yet. So,
and I think mentally he's not in it. Like he's upset about how this has gone. Man. He's very upset, and I don't blame him. I mean, now his wallet's not that upset.
No.
So he's got that. And I mean, I bet if you talk to him one-on-one, he'd be like, yeah, I did get the money. And he'd kind of smile and chuckle about it. But him, like, as a career football guy, you know that he's not happy about how this went in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So I feel like when he gets his chance, like, he doesn't give that much of a fuck. He's like, I'm getting paid anyways. I don't really care. Like, I show up for work, but I don't care.
But at the same time, what is he supposed to care about? Because, of course, you want to see swag surf Cousins, but, like, who's he supposed to swag surf to right now? Who's he supposed to give it to right now? What's he supposed to do out there right now?
And his only start this season was the Dolphins game, and Drake London didn't play that either.
Well, we couldn't have given Kirk Cousins a worse team to start with, because you got Bijan, you got Algier, and you got London, who's hurt. And
he hasn't gotten to play with London this year. I mean, other than when he took over in that 30-0 game.
Yeah, no, and that's my point exactly.
No, he played with London on Sunday a little bit before London got hurt.
You got Pitts, who's unreliable. Pitts had 6 catches for 78 yards. Big deal. He's also a huge Butterfingers, but
that's also one of the best games that he's had this year was 78 yards.
That's my fucking point.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, if we're gonna go back to what I was saying at the beginning of this conversation, if it gets to the point where we have to trade people away for draft capital, I would not miss Kyle Pitts. That might be a move that they have to make in the fucking front office. It might be because you have to do more than just have a tight end. You got to fix the problems you have at wide receiver. You got to fix the problems you have at quarterback. I feel like he's got a lot of good trade capital, and I feel like no coach on the sidelines you saw this past week, I don't think any of them are going to be here next year. I know that we want to say what we want to say about Arthur Blank, but I think he's smart enough to know he's going to make a lot of offseason moves. Raheem Morris is done. We just have to be patient. He's gone, and I think you can trade away. I think you can trade away a big name. I think you can trade away Kyle Pitts and get something, because you got to think of what the team needs. Like, cool, Kyle Pitts, unicorn. Call him whatever you want to call him. I haven't seen him be a unicorn. People want to call him a unicorn. The city of Atlanta.
Great first season.
Yeah, great first season. But
under top of Arthur Smith,
if trading him away can get us a good wide receiver or get us a good healthy quarterback or somebody we can rely on, and we can just get a tight end to be a tight end, to make blocks, to make run blocks and fucking catch little slant rights, that's all I need out of a tight end. What I need is receivers. What I need is a quarterback, and I feel like if we trade him away, we can fucking get that.
Yeah, so you'd be trading him away on the last year of his contract, which I mean would save us like a cap hit. You could do that, but also like, what do you think about, because before I really get into like what we should do next year and like what players we can let go of, like let's look at the outlook of next year. So if Michael Penix actually is getting another reconstructed knee and he's not going to start week 1, and we're talking about a 10-month injury recovery at least, right? At least.
We're gonna be
and it's for a young guy.
We're gonna be a couple of weeks into the NFL season by the time he can healthy play.
Well, I think what I heard today was like maybe early August or mid-August, he'll be cleared to do football activities, but that's not going to get you like to start the game. So he's not even going to start next season. We cannot have, let's say Kirk Cousins goes off and wins the last 7 games of this season.
He's not going
to, but even if he does, like, we don't have the option to keep him next year. We do, like they can say yes because he's under contract, but if they cut him by June 1st, we save something like $22 million. If we take that $22 million cap hit, like we keep him after June 1st and he's still not our quarterback because we all believe like he's not going to be the guy that we need. That leaves us with like $6 to $8 million, and it might be less than that to sign the rest of the guys we know on the team. And the amount of guys that we have that are actually under contract for next year is like 34. We need a 53-man active roster. So unless you're planning on going in with 40 guys and then 13 of them are just elevated from the practice squad, and then we sit and do nothing and hope that Michael Penix comes back and plays, the way that we want him to, which after all the injuries that he's had is a gamble, like we're back in quarterback hell. Yeah. This gets me to the coaching staff and Terry Fontenot. Terry Fontenot's career with us has gotten us to this place. Let's not forget, like, the first thing that he did when he came on was the Deshaun Watson debacle.
Yeah.
Which traded away Matt Ryan.
Yeah, he's the reason that Matt Ryan left. Matt Ryan basically came to them and was like, hey, so you guys didn't land Deshaun Watson, but I heard all the shit you were saying about me. I heard how much better you said he was than me, and now the Browns got him, but guess what? I'm fucking leaving.
Yeah, exactly. And they were like, fine, yeah, we'll let you go. And don't worry, we'll get Marcus Mariota. Yeah. And then, this whole thing where,
who turned his back on us? Who fucking betrayed us?
He did.
Straight up fucking betrayed us.
Then you go out and you're like, no, we do have an answer at QB behind Marcus Mariota. We're going to take a gamble at a 3rd rounder, and like we're going to do that Tom Brady thing where it's like we're going to get lucky in a later round.
The only reason Desmond Ridder got drafted is because he somehow beat Alabama at North Carolina State. He got drafted over one game. He got drafted over one fucking game.
He did. And they're like, well, he's running a real pro offense. Like, yeah, but not against pro players.
Yeah.
He's playing in the ACC with NC State. He was seeing
ACC, bud.
I'm saying, how many great teams are in the ACC any given year?
Georgia Tech, motherfucker.
Georgia Tech, Miami, Virginia Tech has good seasons. Clemson. Outside of that, it's like you're playing Pitt and you're playing Syracuse.
I'll tell you though,
come on, dude.
I've been a Georgia Tech.
I'm not here to talk shit about. I'm not talking shit about Georgia Tech, but I'm just saying.
I've been a Georgia Tech fan my entire life, and this is the first time since the year I was born that they've been playing a season to be excited about. So there is that. I'm with you.
But how many quarterbacks have been drafted out of Georgia Tech that have been like bona fide NFL starters?
None.
Okay. Not one that I can think of.
I mean, we had Calvin Johnson, but that's a receiver. So
I was about to say, not a quarterback. Yeah, I agree with the Calvin Johnson. That's the first guy that came to my mind. This is as far as like a real NFL player coming out of Georgia Tech. But there's plenty of guys that come out.
We had Nomar Garcia-Parra. We had Jason Varitek. We had Chris Bosch.
I thought we were talking football, man. We could get into all that. And look, I'm a Georgia Tech fan too. And I'm totally with that, but I'm being honest about like them taking the gamble on Desmond Ridder and then selling to us that this is the right move.
They told us he was the answer, bro.
Yeah, they did. And it was Marcus Mariota's our stopgap. And we all agreed on that. We're like, okay, sure. We can bring him in. And, if the team around him is good enough, like maybe we can do something. We can have a fun season. We didn't. They kind of did what they've been doing the last 5 years, which is like they sell us this good season early on in the season, and then ultimately we're a 7 to 9 win team, which is what we're looking at right now, maybe worse because we only have 3 wins.
On a 5-game losing streak.
So you got to think about next year. And by the way, I think I said last week that the 2 NFL coaches that have been fired this year, the guy from the Titans and the guy from the Giants, got fired after 4-game losing streaks. We've done 5 now, and it's Tuesday, and we haven't heard any rumblings about them firing them. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking.
I will ask you this. Right now, this late in the season, if we fire Raheem Morris, what are we supposed to do?
Rip the Band-Aid off and start getting ready for next year. Like, why not start?
Well, who's the interim? Like, who coaches at that point?
I would say Jeff Ulbrich, but he also has to go. Yeah. You know, like he has favoritism towards certain players. Like we've had a lot of plays that have happened on defense that you and I have talked about like every week. And I brought up JD Bertrand, who I feel like played a little bit less on Sunday finally, but it's like it's almost like, him being a coach there, he looks at it as like, oh, well, this guy's been putting in work and he did great in the preseason. And so he deserves to come out here. It's like, but he's not producing. And someone has to be the bad guy and say like, sorry, man, you're not playing well. Backup's coming in.
Yeah.
And that's not happening even with Jeff Ulbrich. I did hear that Divine Diablo might be back at practice this week, which is crazy.
Cleared. Yeah. I think he's going to be back at practice.
That's wild.
I will say it's one of the few years where the defense has been showing up better. I mean, granted, we did have a bad defensive game, but we had a pass defensive game this past week. But I mean, you're still having standout players on defense. You had Caden Ellis with 11 tackles and a tackle.
Caden Ellis has been great. Please
he's
pay
been
him.
Doing great. He's been doing
Please
great.
Pay him.
The guy we got off the trade, what's his name? A junior. What's his fucking name? The guy we got from trading our first round pick.
Xavier Watts. Yes. You're talking about and Pierce. And James Pierce. Yeah.
Yes. They're both showing up, but I'm telling you,
they were in the same trade, by the way.
I'm at the point right now where I would much rather have my first round pick than all these flashy sacks, because these flashy sacks aren't winning me games.
Not right now, they're not. It's because they gambled so hard on this quarterback shit.
And like with what we gave up for them, with what we gave up for Watts and Pierce, like Pierce better be he better be in the Ring of Honor by the time he retires. He better be in the Hall of Fame for what we're giving up this year for that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yes and no, because you have to think like, yeah, we traded next year's first rounder to get James Pierce, who is a first rounder, and I think he's performing like one.
But I think so. Like what if we were just getting a different pass rusher first round? But that's what I'm saying. Like it hurts so much because this year we're going to be so high. We're potentially going to be in the first 5 picks.
Right. And that's the thing is like, if this had paid off and you didn't have a top draft pick, because there was a Raheem Morris quote where it was like, we got aggressive like this. It was either Raheem or Terry Fontenot, but I think it was Raheem. He's like, we're not going to be drafting that high again. You sure? Well, yeah, because you traded our pick, but the pick is that high.
Yeah, definitely that high.
I said last week, like, you got to think about Terry Fontenot's career. Like I told you about the Deshaun Watson thing. He's the one that decided that he was going to draft Kyle Pitts as the highest drafted tight end before or after that pick happened. He also drafted Bijan after he struck gold getting Tyler Algier, a 1,000-yard rusher as a starter the year before, drafted him in the 5th round. He's drafted guys like Richie Grant, who sucked. We have the Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix debacle. Like you took 2 home run swings with this franchise's money and draft capital on quarterbacks, and it feels like you missed both.
Yeah. And
you got to go.
Wasn't there, it was either a Mike Smith or an Arthur Smith year where it may have even been a Dan Quinn year, but where we were doing about this bad. We were having a really shitty season, and we were all like, the fans were all like, oh, well, at least we're going to have a high draft pick. And then we even started looking and thinking about like, oh, well, if we're top 5, we're going to draft this pick. And then all of a sudden the Falcons went on a tear. We won like 4 in a row, but then we didn't make it to the playoffs, so we
Yeah.
bombed our draft pick.
Yeah. Let me tell you what happened that year. So that was the last Dan Quinn year. We opened the season 0-5. After week 5, Arthur Blank finally fires Dan Quinn, even though the year before should have been fired, should have ripped the Band-Aid off. He didn't. He let him start the next year. Raheem Morris takes over. The team starts to win games, and all of a sudden we end up, 7-9. And then we're squeaking around the playoffs. This is what I told you my biggest fear is like, if they start winning and they keep Raheem Morris, we cannot do that. Yeah. The fact that it's Tuesday now, after a 5-game losing streak and everything that we've seen, and I've got the Raheem Morris head coaching record in my phone right now. I'm not going to look it up because it's not even worth fucking bringing it up. It's bad. It's bad. His whole head coaching career, and then you can isolate just his head coaching career with the Falcons, and that's his interim head coaching where I feel like he had some success to end that season. That's what you just brought up. We came back and ruined the draft pick. You can keep that in there, and it's still awful. It's bad. It's nowhere close to 500. It's 11 and 19 or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like I said, I'm with you. Everybody's got to go. There was a time where I wanted to keep the defensive coordinator, but then after seeing this, if you can't make up if you can't defend both sides of the ball, if you got to put all your focus in one thing, to the point where you're going to let Bryce Young set a franchise record on you of was it 445 yards? He broke Cam Newton's record. Not only that, it's the same team that you let beat you 30-0. So where was the defense there? You got to look at those things. It's the same team that got blown out by the Dolphins. So where was the team there? This team is not playing like the team that beat the Commanders, beat the Vikings, and beat the motherfucking Bills. Those were nothing but flashes in the pans. And now you're going to have to start games with Kirk Cousins, who all Kirk Cousins has to rely on now is Mooney, who can't catch, Pitts, who can't
broken
catch.
collarbone, by the way. Yep.
Yeah. Pitts, who can't catch, and then the whole game is going to have to be on Bijan. So other teams are already signaling in on that. Bijan's going to end up hurt. Bijan's going to end up overworking himself. Bijan and Algier and Pitts are all you've got right now.
Yeah.
The season's over. I don't see any. I don't have any other.
There is some possibility where they win out and they somehow and other teams lose and they make the playoff. But you and I both know, and everybody listening to this, we know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. It's time to rip the Band-Aid off. Please get rid of Raheem Morris.
No.
Please get rid of Zach Robinson.
It's way more likely that we go on a tear where we win 5 in a row, maybe even 6 in a row,
miraculously,
and we make the wild card, lose the wild card, and somehow Raheem keeps his job. That's an Atlanta thing.
No,
that's an Atlanta thing.
I think we sniff the wild card, but we don't get it. I do not see this team getting to a playoff game. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, we obviously can't beat the Panthers. I don't think we'll be able to beat the Buccaneers when we play them again. I don't think we're going to be able to beat the Jets. Looking at the schedule, I don't see a game that we can win. I don't see a game that the Falcons are going to win with any confidence at all.
No, I don't either. But and dude, I'm looking past that. What are we doing for the next couple of years? We're I told you about if Michael Penix doesn't start next year. And Kirk Cousins cannot be on this team. So it's who do we get? You got to get a stopgap guy. Who's out there? Russell Wilson or maybe Joe Flacco. Who are we going to get? I think it'd probably be someone like Jacoby Brissett, someone like that, someone's backup that actually has experience.
Jacoby Brissett was doing great in Arizona, by the way. So
sure. So a backup that has had some that. That's almost at the top of my list. Jacoby Brissett, and that's someone we could afford. We could pay him $4 to $8 million and actually bring him in, assuming that we cut Kirk Cousins at the right time. You can fire him tomorrow too. I don't care. Throw out Easton Stick. I don't care. This season is a wash.
The only thing is Kirk Cousins, one of the players you can't get any trade for him. Nobody's going to trade you anything for him.
Nope.
So you're gonna have to cut him.
We saw that at the trade deadline. Because
nobody wanted him.
The week before the trade deadline, he played against the Dolphins.
He was putting himself up on a platter. He was trying to get traded.
Yeah, but he didn't perform like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like say we get Jacoby Brissett and then let's say Michael Penix comes in like week 6, week 5, whatever. Who do we have? And here it brings me to another point, like the veterans that maybe we could get rid of. What do you think about like getting rid of Jesse Bates and like cutting his salary so that we can like retool this offense and keep the young defense that we have?
If it'll get a good player, then yeah. Like I don't mind. Like Jesse Bates is having a good season, but he's not doing enough to where it's like if I can get a player that's younger than you on,
and I'm not blaming any of this season on Jesse Bates because I think he's a great player. But he commands a big salary.
He commands a big salary.
Yeah,
and he's getting older. And my thing is like, I love you, Jesse Bates. I do. I think you're one of the best players on our team by far. But if trading Jesse Bates means getting somebody on the offensive side of the ball that can help us put points on the board, I'm all for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the draft thing. It's like so. Even if this season, like let's say we don't win a single other game, like we don't get to draft another quarterback, so we almost have to tank next season to get a quarterback.
Well, in theory, you could get another quarterback. You're just not going to get a good quarterback. You're going to get Desmond Ridder again.
Right. Yeah. You just pick somebody up in the 3rd, 4th round, and maybe you strike gold and you've got something. Yeah. But I don't know. Like, so I'm kind of looking at like at the earliest, the Falcons making like a real run to get back to the playoffs, 2027.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm feeling. Like just looking at it objectively.
Are you starting to regret all that money you keep paying for season tickets?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Without a fucking doubt. I didn't go to that Carolina game mostly because I had band practice because I have a show next week.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel bad about missing that game.
Yeah.
Because I knew that was going to happen.
Yep.
And if they don't fire Raheem Morris, like if they're starting the season with Raheem Morris next season, like I don't know if I'm going to have season tickets.
Well, I'll tell you, man, it even got to the point where I was watching the game and I thought the Falcons were going to win. And I was just like, okay, the Falcons might win this. And like, I don't give a shit. Like if they win, cool, they win. They're not going to do anything. Like
season's been over, dude. Yeah.
I was literally sitting there at work, watching it on the TV. And I was like, I don't give a shit if they win. Like, I'm so disappointed. I'm so frustrated with this team that even them winning this game isn't going to change my opinion on them. Like, I'm done.
Same here.
Like,
same here.
Fuck you guys. Yep.
Like,
I don't give a shit if you win.
I'm not gonna let them, like Dan Quinn did right before he got fired, where it's like, oh wait, look, we're contending maybe for a wild card around
really
Christmas.
Just like, it's like, oh, we won. Look at our Instagram. Look at this cool post. Look at this. Like, okay, cool, you won. You're probably not going to do it again. And like, I don't give a shit.
And the poor like Instagram marketing kid who's probably fucking 22, 23 or something, who's on there like trying to come up with something like clever to say, and he's like, this would be a good social media post, and you look at the comments and they're just like, why the fuck would we watch this team?
No, and dude,
I'm more with the commenters.
Mercedes-Benz might as well be a fucking big litter box right now because the Panthers just came in there and pissed all over us.
Well, and the Panthers marketing team did that. They showed our stadium as a litter box.
Good for them.
Yeah.
They got the right fucking
idea. Saw
idea.
that and I was just like, I can't even be mad, man. Like,
yeah,
you shit on us twice.
It's one of those things. And like people who know Jeremy and I personally, Jeremy and I will fight and argue tooth and nail and defend the city of Atlanta and defend the sports teams of Atlanta. But finally, throughout the season, it gets to the point where Jeremy and I both just have to go like, yeah, you're right. We suck. And now we're at that point
real about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're at that point where it's just like, yeah, we suck. Yeah, we suck. And like Jeremy's even worse about it than I will. There's been times where I've had to like come to Jesus with Jeremy and be like, no, this team's bad. Be like, no, they're not. And he'll tell me like he'll become a statistician on me and everything. He'll tell me why they don't suck. He'll tell me why they're having a bad season and why they don't suck. But this season they suck.
Yeah, and dude, sometimes I tell people like when I put on this hat, you're getting nothing but delusional takes because I'm gonna be a homer. And if we were sitting at a bar with anybody who's listening to this and they ran into me and they want to talk about the Falcons, I'll tell you why, like you should stay a fan. But us doing an analysis podcast, I'm gonna be real with it, man. Like it does not look good.
And it's coming to the point when when we get to the playoffs, we're going to have to let our bias go. And I guess we're just going to have to pick new teams to cover hard because the Falcons ain't going to be there. They're not.
No, hell no. Hell no. Hell no. And then when we get to the draft, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All those nice first rounders out there we can't have. The Hawks will give us something to talk about. They lost tonight. They ended up losing tonight. But they lost against Detroit, who's hot. They just won 11 in a row. We won 5 in a row and then lost one without Trae Young. We'll be all right.
Yeah, Detroit's been on the rebuild for a solid 3 or 4 years now. They're finally finding their identity. They're getting it together. Detroit's not a bad team to lose to. You shouldn't be upset about that.
I agree. They're beating everybody. 11 games in a row.
Detroit's a really good
won.
Team.
Yeah. So,
and what I'm really excited to see is when I don't know when the schedule is, but whenever San Antonio and Detroit have to face each other, because it's nothing but big ass dudes on both sides of the ball right there.
Sure. If Wembanyama's back.
Yeah. But
we'll see.
Other than that, man, I don't really have much else to say.
Nah.
There's
a lot more I could say, but
Yeah.
I mean, why? We've done an hour and a half on how bad the Falcons suck ass.
Yeah.
So
I mean, go Dirty Birds, 2027 Dirty Birds. Let's fucking go.
That's what I think. Yep.
But other than
that, we're gonna rise up in 2027.
Yeah, in 2027, that's gonna be our fucking year, dude. That's gonna be our fucking year, dude. 2027, my kid is gonna be fucking 13, 14 years old. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Nice.
God, I'm gonna be old as fuck.
Hopefully we're not still losing and he can actually have a fun time being an Atlanta Falcons fan.
My son does not give a fuck about football, and I've tried
because his whole life we suck.
Yeah. I mean, when he was like a year and a half, we went to a Super Bowl party, and that was the 28-3. So his entire core memories of the Atlanta Falcons have been disappointments.
Well, hopefully that can be redeemed at some point in his life. We'll see.
Yeah. But other than that, I hope you guys are enjoying this. I've seen the numbers on YouTube. We are getting some new people. You guys are enjoying it. You are watching us. Feel free to give us feedback. Feel free to comment. We're very interactive. We're very approachable. When you leave a comment, when you like anything, you are directly conversing with us. So you can find us on A-Town Rundown on YouTube and on Instagram. You can listen to Jeremy's music. He plays guitar in the band Sunmancer. They're playing a show with Attila coming up at 529 if you want to tell everybody about that, Jeremy.
Next Sunday, November 23rd, playing with Attila. Come out and see us, 529. Probably going to play after 7 o'clock if you guys want to come out and hang. Come out and talk to me about football. Come out and watch some metal, watch some other great bands. Hopefully we see you there.
Absolutely. And you can listen to Sunmancer on Spotify, on Apple Music, wherever you stream music. On YouTube, you can watch their music videos. Sunmancer's a great local Atlanta band. Get behind them. Other than that, we will see you guys next week. Next Thursday, the Bills and the Texans play, which is going to be a good game. Both teams are very hot right now. It really is going to show what Josh Allen has to overcome to keep
I'm taking Texans in this one.
I'll tell you, dude, I'm right there with you. I'm taking the Texans. Yeah. I really think the Texans are actually going to upset the Bills. But other than that, man, y'all be safe. It's really hard. It's really hard being a Falcons fan right now. But just, if you need to congregate, if you need a shoulder to cry on, if you need a
support group,
if you need a beer to virtually drink with each other, if you need to just talk about it, if you need to just vent, please just let us know.
Hey, actually, let me throw you out here. If you want to come to the Falcon support group, come up to Outrun Brewing and Stone Mountain. If I'm working, I will talk about the Falcons with you all night. Yes. And we will dry each other's tears and talk about what could have been and what our bleak future looks like. But let's hang in there together.
Yeah. And we're going to keep it real about you. Like I said, we are very biased to the city of Atlanta, but it comes to a point in every adult's life where you just have to be real and you can't live in a delusion anymore. And I can no longer blindly walk behind the Atlanta Falcons and call this a good football organization this year anymore. I just cannot.
Yep.
But with that being said,
let's go Hawks.
Let's go Hawks. Let's go Braves. Okay, Falcons, do something. Just do something.
Yeah, like you were saying last week, hitting him with a stick, Yeah,
do something.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good night, you guys. See ya.
Rise up.